Hey there. Um, Pete Buchwald posted a good question on my previous video about strike selection. He asked why I chose 92 days per expiration on the leap option in that video. So the other, in that video I tested strike selection. In this, the other key variable to test is the expiration of the leap, and to a lesser extent the short call. But in this video I'm going to focus on the expiration of the leap. So I'm not wedded to 92 days to expiration, but I do have some justification not to go to a very long dated leap, like Pete's asking. So we'll compare the two poor man's covered call setups on the S&P index fund or SPY. So in both cases, the short call is at the money and has 35 days expiration. So we'll compare two different expirations for the leap. So the first is my typical setup, or about 100 days to expiration and 83 delta. So the second is also, it's about 82 delta, but it has a year, it expires a year later. So about 460 days to expiration if you're counting non-trading days. So here's the P&L curve for the 100 days to expiration leap setup. I use the handy calculator at optionsprofitcalculator.com, so to give them credit. I highlighted the P&L at expiration with a thick blue curve. So now here's the P&L for the 460 day expiration leap setup, and it's in the dark blue curve. I overlaid the previous slide's P&L curve in light blue so you could compare the two. So with the very long dated leap, you're getting a bit more upside, perhaps $100 around expiration if the stock stays at 460. However, the spread performs poorly as the stock price goes way up, and it also doesn't offer as much downside protection as the 100-day expiration leap case. So you can certainly use a long dated leap, but you're going to pay much more for it, 2 times more in this case. And you're going to need to roll that short call before the stock price goes too high or too low. But there is a little more upside, and you get a little more theta decay, net theta decay, with the ultra long leap. Okay, so I think for probably more useful comparison is comparing my typical 100 days to expiration leap to a 50-day expiration leap. So this is really hardly a leap anymore. Leap stands for long-term equity anticipation, something or other. So it's kind of assuming it has a long date to it. But anyway, it's still longer dated than the short call. But it's almost it does illustrate a really interesting change of behavior with these positions as they go to shorter and shorter toward expiration. So here's the P&L curve for my typical poor man's covered call setup that has a 100-day expiration leap. So the red is the P&L near expiration. So now here's the P&L curve for the 50-day expiration leap. I put the 100-day expiration curve in light red so you can compare. So for all intents and purposes, these are the same. 100 days to expiration gives you a little bit more downside protection, but really the P&Ls are very similar. So here's the theta of the leap, the short call, and the net for the 100 days to expiration poor man covered call case. So the orange curve is the net theta, and net theta is positive, so that means that we're going to benefit from time decay. Time decay of the short option is going to be less than the time decay of the long option, so it's a net benefit to the option seller here. So here's the theta curves for the 50-day expiration case. So I included the net theta curve from the previous slide in light orange. So you can see that by going to the shorter dated option, shorter dated leap, we lost a little bit of theta decay, but the curves are still broadly similar. It's almost academic differences. So the real differences, the real action is with vega. So recall that vega is the derivative of the Black-Scholes option price with respect to the implied volatility. So what does this mean? Positive vega means that an option or a multi-option position is going to increase in value when IV increases. Negative vega means that the position is going to decrease in value as IV increases. Okay, so for the 100-day expiration leap case, notice that vega is positive and it's increasing, meaning that we're assuming that IV is going to go up. Hoping. So when we look at the 50-day expiration leap, the situation flips. The net vega is now negative. This is a really interesting finding. It means that if you'd like to make a bet on volatility, then the expiration of the leap is really the key consideration with this poor man covered call, this diagonal spread trade. And so if you think that volatility is going to rise, then you should use a longer dated leap because those have a positive vega. If you think volatility is going to fall, you should use a shorter dated leap because you're hoping that volatility is going to drop. Okay, so in conclusion, as far as I can tell, very long dated leaps are a waste of money and actually somewhat counterproductive. You'd be better off buying the cheaper leap and holding on to the cash for a rainy day, in my opinion. So my typical poor man's covered call setup uses a leap of about 100 days to expiration. This poor man covered call position will be long vega. So again, this means that as IV rises, the position will increase in value. So around 75 days to expiration, the leap vega flips to be less than the short call vega. So I showed you how a 50-day to expiration leap position has a short vega. So as IV rises, this position is going to lose value. So if you want a neutral vega position, meaning that you have no directional assumption in IV going forward, I would aim for expiration of about 75 days on the leap. So anyway, I hope you found it interesting. I certainly did. If you got comments or questions, let me know. So I appreciate Pete suggesting this video topic. And yeah, see you next time.